The sharks weren't the scary part of this dive. I was. I'd shown up to Malpelo with my heart already racing, waiting for the chaos I had been promised. What I found instead was something so calm and unhurried that it quietly changed the way I think about being underwater. This is the story of how a school of sharks taught me to breathe. Most of us carry this picture in our heads where sharks mean one thing: danger, teeth, and that heartbeat in your throat before something goes wrong. And I'll be honest, I wasn't scared of sharks at all. I actually came to Malpelo hoping to see as many as possible. I spent a whole day on a liveaboard boat getting to Malpelo, which is basically a rock in the Pacific, about 500 kilometers or 311 miles from anywhere. And you can't just book a hotel and hop over. It doesn't work like that. The only way to get there is to live on a boat, eat with the crew, and listen to the same stories that get bigger every single night. Divers around me were swapping tales about schools of hammerheads, Galapagos, and silky sharks, the legendary Ferox shark, and the currents that rip through like freight trains. Everyone was fired up, and I was right there with them, wanting to rush and a story that would make people's eyes go wide. I had no idea the story I'd actually bring back would be about the exact opposite. At a place that's been a marine protected area for decades, the sharks aren't performing for you. They're just living in a system that still works. The ocean doesn't listen to what you want. It just gives you what's actually there. And I was about to find out what was actually there was nothing like the version I had built in my head. But first, if you're enjoying this video, now's a great time to like and subscribe. This channel is all about scuba stories, dive adventures, and underwater encounters that bring you closer to the ocean. And if you're enjoying it, please do share with others. The descent itself is where your imagination starts working overtime. You roll off the boat, feel the water close around you, and take the first breaths through regulator. Everything goes quiet, not completely silent, because there's always the hiss and the bubble of your own breathing, but quiet enough that every thought gets louder. I was checking my gear, watching my depth, doing all the things you're supposed to do, and underneath all of that, my heart was still hammered. I'd done enough dives to know my gear was fine, my depth was fine, everything was fine, but my mind wouldn't quite settle into it. I just hung there, in the blue, waiting for something to happen. Then, out of the corner of my mask, I caught a shape that wasn't close or fast, just drifting through the water like it had the whole day to get to wherever it was going. Something about that made me stop fidgeting and actually look. They weren't hunting, they weren't circling, they were just passing through. A beautiful hammerhead with mating scars glided past me, and I remember thinking how lazy its tail looked, like it wasn't even trying to swim. Then there were 2 more, then 10. Then the whole school turned up and suddenly the water was full of them. Hundreds, maybe more, moving in this loose, effortless formation that looked like one big animal breathing. Light caught their fins as they banked and turned. All of them moving at the same speed, all of them heading somewhere that didn't involve me. None of them cared that I was there. Not in a dismissive way, just in a "you're not part of what I'm doing now" kind of way. These aren't sharks in an aquarium looking for a handout. Malpelo is a marine sanctuary, but hammerheads don't stay inside its borders. They're migratory, which means they swim right back out there in the open water, where ultimately they're still heavily fished. The fact that this many of them still come back here is not something you can take for granted. Research across the eastern tropical Pacific shows that remote protected places like this are some of the only spots left where shark populations are actually thriving. And that's why they move through the water without a trace of fear in this small place of shelter. I stopped reaching for my camera, stopped adjusting my position, and even stopped thinking about how deep I was, or still how much gas I had left in my cylinder. I just hovered there, watching them in a rhythm that felt older than anything I'd ever seen. It's amazing to see a whole pack, a herd, a school of sharks. The sharks were social. My breathing started to slow down without me even trying. My body just found a rhythm of something already calm. The sharks weren't the chaotic force in the water. I was. The part that actually changed me didn't even happen while they were still there. The sharks swam past and I just stayed there, hovering in the water like someone who'd just been told a secret they didn't even know they needed to hear. I came to Malpelo looking for a story about thrills, but what I found there was a story about presence, about what happens when you stop trying to make something happen and just let the water hold you. Those sharks weren't calm because of me. They were calm because that's what they are. And I was the one who had to catch up. This isn't a place where any monsters live. It's where the system still works. And seeing it that way completely flipped how I understand the ocean. When you see that many sharks in one place, it's not a threat. It's proof that the ocean can still be what it's supposed to be when we leave it alone. People who dive a lot talk about the water feeling like meditation, and I used to think they were just saying that. But down there, with nothing but my own breathing and a school of sharks that couldn't care less about me, I finally understood what that meant. You don't find the calm. You stop making noise long enough to hear it. If you want to know whether the ocean is healthy, don't look for what's missing. look for what moves slowly through it. If any of this resonates, stick around because there's more water out there than any of us will ever see, and some of it is still this quiet. If you enjoyed this video, I have a perfect video to follow it up here. Otherwise, YouTube also thinks you might like this one. You can check that one out as well. The more you know, the more you'll love and protect the ocean. Until next time.